This is the closing market report for Tuesday on the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. I'm Riley Smith. On the phone right now with Bill Moore of Price Futures Group as we wrap up another day in the ag marketplace. Bill, what have we seen going on in the grain and livestock markets today?
Well, the market's having a little correction today. Maybe they overdid it yesterday. We down about 4 in the corn and the beans, and down about a penny in the wheat. Markets had a really a roller coaster ride the last 4 or 5 days. It's all was caused by the expectation of the Beijing summit between President Trump and President Xi ended last week. President Trump came home and there was no specific announcement of any export sales to China. The market was disappointed in that, and the market broke, beans in particular broke 60 cents in about 2 days or 3 days, closing 60 cents off their highs on Friday. And then on Sunday, the news came out of Washington, the White House. Indeed, they had struck a deal with China, and that they'd committed to buy an additional $17 billion in terms of ag exports. And the market, even though China hasn't confirmed that, the market liked the sound of that, even though there's been no sales so far. In the past, when Trump said sales were going to happen, they did, back about 3 or 4 months ago when they were talking about 12 million metric tons, and it did happen. So the market is emboldened by that announcement. It rallied hard yesterday, double-digit gains across the board, beans, corn, and wheat. Also helped by the heavy storm systems we've had through the U.S. It's still rain, tornadoes and flash floods, maybe too much rain for the corn and bean belts, and the wheat is still dry. The wheat market is, I think that supply is, it's the rain they get now is too little too late for this market. And as a result, we're seeing the wheat market is kind of turning into a supply bull. So that's a positive. And, you know, dealing with the Iran crisis, it doesn't feel like there's going to be any resolution anytime soon. The sticking point, stalemate, is the nuclear situation. Nuclear issues, they seem to be a non-starter for both of them. So the oil is not going crazy today. If you look at the prices of oil, they're it's a little bit lower. But you look at the chart of June oil, it's well over $100. The market's, even today, is only about $2 off the contract highs made back at the end of April. So the market's starting to deal maybe with the reality that this could be a long issue with just getting this war resolved, and that's going to mean higher energy prices, and that's supportive of the grains as well. So those are the main fundamentals we're looking at today. The market just overdid yesterday's double-digit gains across the board, correcting that a little bit. Still waiting to hear from concrete sales from China. The planning numbers came out yesterday, 3 o'clock. Planting is going very well, 76% of the corn in, the average is 70. Beans, record pace for this time of the year, 67% in, the average is 53. Winter wheat is also in the poorest shape it's been in, and since in about almost 30 years, but 27% good to excellent. So that's an important number as well. So those numbers to look at. And that's about it. We'll just see what the latest out of with the Iran war is the Gulf states have asked Trump to delay his renewed bombing of that area for 3 to 5 days so they can continue to try to work out some kind of peace proposal. So that's the latest on that. Livestock-wise, we're looking at a market that is not really doing a lot. It's up a little bit today. Looking at cattle, closed up $1.17, just $1 off the contract highs made back in May 1st. The market did have a $10 correction from May 1st. It was quickly bought up, and it's congested since then. Hasn't made new highs in about 3 weeks, but it's congesting right near the highs. It feels like it's coiling for a higher move. Fundamentals, again, excellent for the cattle, tight supplies, and the best demand period of the year. We do have a cattle and feed report on Friday. There may be some profit taking in front of that, looking for cattle and feed at 101 and placements at 104. That's the highest placement number I've seen in a while. So see how that report comes out at 2 o'clock on Friday. The hog market continues the same role it's been in for the last several months, which is the weak sister, very weak sister You look at the chart of June hogs. Today they had the lowest close of the year. The market is $15 off almost $15 off the highs from early February. It's amazing that with the extreme gap between hogs and cattle, the consumer isn't opting for the cheaper pork, but he isn't yet. One of these days he will, but for right now, the cattle hugging its highs, its record highs, and the hogs hugging their lows. And sooner or later, consumer is going to change and go for the lower priced pork, but it sure hasn't happened yet.
All right, Bill, lots of great information today. For anybody who would like to get in touch for more marketing information and check out your newsletter, how can they do that?
630-947-5176. wmoore@pricegroup.com. Check out my newsletter, Agmaster, or www.pricegroup.com, the company website. Look at the bios of Jack Scoville and myself. We've both been here a long time. We'd love to help you out.
That again was Bill Moore of Price Futures Group. We'll look at the numbers next.
Every county fair has that special person or family. They are there before the gates open and long after the lights go out, helping families with projects and pitching in wherever they're needed, never asking for recognition. The Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network, along with Wyffels Hybrids, is honoring them with the Heart of the County Fair Award. 6 winners will be recognized locally and at the Iowa State Fair, with a plaque, cash prize, VIP passes, and food coupons. Don't delay. Nominations are due June 1st. Visit iowaagnet.com to nominate today.
At the close, July corn down 1 3/4 at $4.75 1/4. December new crop down 1/4 cent at $4.97 3/4. July soybeans down 3.5 at $12.09 1/2. November new crop up 2 even at $12.03 even. July soybean meal down 2.20 at $3.32.30. July soybean oil down 19 cents at $75.44. Chicago wheat up 2 3/4 at $6.67 1/4. Kansas City hard red winter wheat went unchanged at $7.03 3/4. Minneapolis spring wheat down 6 3/4 at $6.96 1/2. July oats up 7.5 at $3.80 1/2. On the Merc, June live cattle up $1.17 at $254.55. May feeders up 77 cents at $369.57. June lean hogs down 60 cents at $97.92. Pork cutout down 52 cents at $113.95, and June Class 3 milk down 29 cents at $16.65. That's been a check of the closing market prices. Thanks again to Bill Moore of Price Futures Group for joining us today here on the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network, where Iowa Ag matters. I'm Riley Smith.